So let's get going with this e-liquid ingredient log database type thing, shall we? So the biggest problem with creating anything is the blank canvas. So you start with the beginning, just, what do you do first? Well, in my case, I've decided that I can't be bothered putting a lot of effort into this. So basically I'm going to do very little preparation, very little forward planning, which is probably about the worst thing you can do when you're trying to develop some kind of software or database or whatever. Really, you should sit down and plan everything out, because it will save you a lot of time in the long run. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just struggle my way through and just do it a bit at a time. So yeah, we've got the blank canvas, and there are some things that I do need to decide ahead of time, and I've done that already. So we're going to quickly run through that. And that is what database options I have. Database engine, front end, all that kind of thing. Yeah, this should be really simple, but it still needs to be decided, because I could do it in MySQL. And yeah, normally I would do it in MySQL. But the thing is with MySQL, apart from it being great, flexible, tough, all that kind of stuff, is it has no real UI. It's just a database engine without any kind of UI. And you're kind of going to have to create all the UI yourself in some method. Normally HTML, PHP, whatever. And I just can't be bothered doing that. It's really time consuming. I don't really ever plan on putting this thing on the web, and it would just take a lot longer. So my other option is, well, I mean, there are plenty of options, but the other option that I really would put in the pot is Microsoft Access, which, well, yeah, it is a bit crap. There are lots of limitations to it. I don't think really any of these are going to affect me badly on what I need to do here. It's only going to be a tiny little database. It's only going to be me using it. So yeah, not so bothered about that. There are lots of limitations with the manipulation of it. The SQL is a bit weird. It's a bit specific to, I don't know, VBA or Access or one or the other, I'm not sure. But plus side is it does create instant UI. I mean, maybe not exactly how you want it, but with a click of a button you can have a form to enter data into your database, and then fairly easily, jiggly pokily format that, and you're sort of done really. So it is fast. So yeah, the two options, MySQL or MS Access. Well, because I can't be asked spending too much time on any of this, as I've discussed, minimal amount of time, minimal planning, and just doing a little bit at a time. So yeah, I decided Access it is. It just helps speed up everything by giving me that instant UI. So that being said, let's pop open Access. I think this is Access 2016, and let's start off with a blank database. We shall call it, what shall we call it? Let's call it e-liquid log. That'll do. And then it's going to start up by creating a blank table, and I need to fill in some columns or fields for this new table. So I'm going to have a little flickery pokery around on the old Excel spreadsheet and decide what kind of column should be in the ingredient thingy. Right, so not many fields required actually in this case. So what it is basically I had a look through the old spreadsheet here, and what I need to do is I need to create a table for unique ingredients, not bottles. So for example, Capella Caramel V2 is an ingredient. Capella Caramel V2_5 is just a bottle of that, and I could have multiple bottles of one ingredient. So I just want the unique ingredients chucked into a table in Access. And here is the table so far. So basically we're going to have just an ID for each ingredient, which has an auto number, auto increment thing, obviously a name. The type I'm going to get to in a moment, but basically that will be a list of nicotine, VG, PG, VG flavour or PG flavour. Those are about the only ones I can think of so far. and as the majority of them are going to be PG flavors, I have put in down here the default value is a PG flavor. Nicotine content is purely for nicotine base, so the default value would normally be 0, as most of them are going to be without any nicotine in it. It's only going to be the nicotine base that will have some nicotine in it. And then the actual weight per, oops, didn't want to do that. And then the actual weight per mil of the ingredient, which is going to be the same no matter which bottle you buy. So all of these are going to be the same no matter which bottle you buy. These are static properties of that ingredient. And again, the default value is going to be 1 because the majority of these are just going to be PG flavorings, which weigh 1 gram per milliliter. So let's go back to this ingredient type a minute. Now, to save myself having to remember to type this in exactly the same for everyone, I'm going to eventually select this from a drop-down list. So I need to create a table that contains the options that I can have in this field. So let's create that a minute. So here I have now created the highly complex, as you can see, ingredients types table. And it's basically just an ID, which is an auto number, and the type, which is just going to be short text. No real reason to default it to anything because I'm not going to be updating that often. And now let's go and chuck some data in. That's basically all that's going to be in this for now. So it's got an ID for the table, or for a table ID uniquely identifying each one. And the only possible different types of ingredient I think that I'm going to have at the moment, because I doubt I'll ever be using VG flavors, is nicotine, plain old VG, plain old PG, and a PG flavoring. So basically these will be the options that I can put into the ingredient type field here. And I think that's going to do us for today. Tomorrow we need to try and get all of the existing ingredients that I have used in the past all exported out of this little thing here and imported into these this table basically, and I'll add all this in before the import so that it's all done as soon as I import it into Access. And that is going to do us for today. Watching paint dry would be more interesting.